Hey guys, next up we've got, as part of our influence series, we've got EdIT with Crying Over Pros for No Reason. So EdIT is Edward Marr, and this is his first studio album, which came out in 2004. I don't have the wax of it, I've got it as a digital release, which I think is probably the best for this kind of sound, and I'll explain why in a minute. But Edward Marr used to go by the stage name Con Artist as a hip-hop producer, and then sort of just in the lead up to him putting out this album in 2004, he changed his name to EdIT to sort of reflect the sound that he was moving towards at this time. So the genre can sort of best be described as indie hip-hop, obviously given his Con Artist sound, but also IDM. So if you're not familiar with it, intelligent dance music, which was big in the 90s and early 2000s, and I think it sort of died off after that. If you haven't looked it up, Google that, because it's a whirlwind of a genre. But also electronic and glitch hop. So he's sort of like a staple artist in the glitch hop space. Crying Over Pros for No Reason included 10 tracks. There were no features on this album, but the sound can sort of be best described on the album as somber, punctuated with sort of glitchy beats, lots of interesting percussion elements and found sounds that sort of come together and are electronically manipulated into these bits and pieces that sort of scatter throughout these hip-hop loops. Heavily influenced by hip-hop. You can definitely, it sort of could easily be described as hip-hop, but with nods to artists like Square Pusher in terms of the electronic production palette in that IDM space, and also inspired by electronic artists of a similar IDM nature. So the reason that this album has influenced the Anon Speak sound is the interesting percussion took the standard loop format of that common hip-hop sound and added some variety and some interest to the production, and we wanted to emulate beats in a similar way, just without those sort of somber melodies. We really liked the way that they used the percussion and the way that he put his drums together, but not so much the melodies. We were inspired by the complexity of the production that he created. Occasionally you can hear this with Edward's other influence in the other group that he's involved with, the Glitch Mob, along with Oa, Beretta and Craddy. So that group is much bigger, much more anthemic and electronic in their sound, but we appreciated this particular album because of EdIT's kind of glitch hop influence and the complexity of that percussion. The kicks and snares are also still hit hard, despite the chilled nature of the melodies, and we wanted that kind of crispy percussion element throughout the entire sort of production that we've put together. Again, we were listening to this a lot before putting the tip out, and you can sort of hear bits and pieces of it. I think it's sort of lost in the wall of sound that we created with the tip, but at the same time, I think it still influences us today, those really crispy, scattered percussion elements that are really kind of all over the place, but really break up that loop format. So check out EdIT's Crying Over Pros for No Reason if you haven't already, and otherwise also check out the Glitch Mob for a slightly different, less glitchy sound, but anthemic synths and really interesting stuff. So check it out if you haven't.